To say isn't about hate. I'm actually coming from a place of concern, but not just for one person. I'm concerned about everyone affected by Foodie Beauty's actions. I want to talk about a little bit about her decision to go to Syria and how she conducts herself in that country, in her community there. Let's be clear, and I will do this with the utmost respect and sensitivity to the people of Syria. Syria is not a tourist destination for her. It's not a playground for drama, for clout, or personal obsessions. It's a country that has endured a decade of brutal conflict. There are people, they are struggling to survive every day, families rebuilding from rubble, children growing up surrounded by trauma, and people doing everything they can to get by, and it's understandable. Food, power, safety. None of it can be taken for granted there, though Foodie just doesn't give a shit. And yet, she doesn't give a shit. Here she is, a Canadian citizen who went to Syria despite strict warnings from her own government, despite knowing there is no consular protection if something goes wrong, despite the ongoing instability. She arrived in Syria like she has in so many other places before, assuming she can do whatever she wants, film whatever she wants, demand what she wants, all while flaunting the little she has left as if it makes her better than everyone else around her because she thinks she's a certain type of princess and that people have to worship her. And she is also a racist asshole. It's disturbing. Let's talk about that makeshift gas stove she's using. This is not to take away from the survivability of anybody else. I am referring to this Canadian woman who could have used a better maintained stove back in Canada to cook her food, not have been a burden on the resources of the people in that community where she lives in Syria, so that she can follow this disgusting man around the world, be his forever haunt, and never take accountability for herself. That setup she has is a makeshift stove, okay? A portable flame inside a home, near cushions or furniture, her clothing, all of it is dangerous. It's not a joke. It's not a quirky way to cook dinner. It's a potential bomb. Butane or propane gas in a confined space without proper ventilation can lead to carbon monoxide poisoning, fire, or a literal explosion. Not just hurting her, but putting the lives of others in the building at risk. What happens if the flame tips over? What happens if the gas leaks from that little hose that's next to that stove? What happens if someone else in the house breathes in those fumes or gets trapped in a fire? And let's not forget the people around her, including people who are already traumatized by life in that region, people who don't have the luxury to flee, to fly home, or to treat war zones like tourist content. She's using resources that aren't hers to use without care or consideration for the cost others might pay just for her to keep recording. Or she is using that, but she is using all of those resources without considering the way in which she's gotten those resources. Who the hell knows how the hell she got into Syria? That's my question. This isn't just poor judgment. It is selfish, it is reckless, and it's a complete lack of empathy for people who are already suffering. I see someone who is so fixated on a man, so consumed by her own personal narrative, that she's lost all awareness of surroundings, if she's had any awareness, and all concern for the consequences of her actions. She's risking her life, her cat's life, and the lives of others that live in that home just to chase an illusion, just to stay somewhere where she has no protection, no rights, and frankly, no purpose being in. For what? For a man. This isn't entertainment. This is exploitation of culture, of suffering, of place. And while she might not care about the damage she causes, we care. This isn't about canceling anyone. It's about accountability. It's about calling out dangerous behavior before it leads to disaster. It's about remembering that Syria is not content backdrop whatsoever. It's a real place with real people who deserve dignity and respect.